As the summer continues to rise in the capital of Karnataka, the ongoing water crisis in Bengaluru is also worsening day by day. To deal with the water crisis, BWSSB, short for Bengaluru Water Supply and Sewage Board, has issued a bizarre notification stating that the public will be fined 5,000 rupees for misuse of drinking water. Let me read out the order of BWSSB, which is in Kannada. ಇತ್ತೀಚಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮಳೆಯ ಕೊರತೆಯಿಂದ ಅಂತರ್ಜಲ ಕುಸಿದಿದ್ದು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರನ್ನು ಪೋಲು ಮಾಡುವುದನ್ನು ತಡೆಗಟ್ಟಲು ಅವಶ್ಯವೆಂದು ಮನಗಂಡು ಕುಡಿಯುವ ನೀರನ್ನು ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕರು ಮಿತವಾಗಿ ಬಳಸುವಂತೆ ಅಗತ್ಯಪಡಿಸಲಾಗಿದೆ. ಈ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕ ಹಿತದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಈ ಕೆಳಕಂಡಂತೆ ಆದೇಶಿಸಲಾಗಿದೆ. So basically BWSSB is trying to say that due to lack of rain and depletion in underground water, Bengaluru is suffering water crisis, is going through this water crisis, and in order to limit the use of drinking water, we had to come up with these rules, and the rules are the drinking water cannot be used for the following points are that for vahanagala swachhate, that is vehicle cleaning of your vehicles, gardening purpose, construction, entertainment matlab you can't use drinking water for holy where you spill the water on the other people and all those things, and you cannot use drinking water other than for drinking in cinema halls and in malls. You cannot use the drinking water other than for drinking purpose. And then the next point is construction purpose. So yeah, basically the BWSSB is saying that you cannot use drinking water for all these following purpose, and if you break this rule you will be fined 5,000 rupees. Yes, and this part really caught my eye, where in the order BWSSB is saying that ಕುಡಿಯುವ ನೀರನ್ನು ಈ ಕೆಳಕಂಡ ಆದೇಶಗಳಿಗೆ ಬಳಸಲು ನಿಷೇಧಿಸಲಾಗಿದೆ. So that is, usage of drinking water is banned for the following. My question is, how is BBMP is going to explain to the citizens that what is drinking water and what is non-drinking water? That's my question to the BWSSB. How are you going to decide what is drinking water and what is not? The houses of Bengaluru have one water supply line from BWSSB which will be filtered and used for drinking purpose. Even with a bore well, only after the water gets filtered, it will be used for drinking. And with this, BWSSB provides 135 LPCD of water to each house. Accordingly, are all these 135 LPCD considered as drinking water is the other question that I am having with. And irrespective of these, what the concerned person, whoever is getting the water, and what he has to do with that 135 LPCD is left to that concerned person. And why is BWSSB is coming in between? And also one thing is that I understand that BWSSB's notification is for the emergency water crisis in Bengaluru, but does this mean let the plants and other things which requires water die? Okay, let's also consider that someone is using drinking water for any of the following. How is BWSSB going to monitor who is breaking the rule among 1.4 crore people in who is living in the city? And the most important part here is what is considered to be drinking water and what is not. I am also very perplexed here. That is why we have a water expert Kshitij Aras with us today to discuss this vague notification by BWSSB, and let's see what he has to say about this notification.
So my first question is, as a water expert, I would like to call you an water expert if you don't mind. And I assume you do work closely with all these things like you mentioned before. So when you read this notification, what was your instant response to this? Like in city like Bengaluru, where we use Kaveri water, and what does BWSSB mean by drinking water? Like, I'm just trying to understand here. When we get water from BWSSB, there is no differentiation like this is drinking water, this is non-drinking water. And when they mean drinking water in the notification, what is it?
Yeah, see, the thing is that BWSSB does not have infrastructure which can provide you drinking water in the kitchen, which is separate from grey water, recycled grey water to the bathroom. Okay, and culturally also, we are not used to using recycled water, and so BWSSB has no way of differentiating potable water from grey water that has been recycled. So technically, everything, all the water that you get through BWSSB connection would be potable water. Okay, so I mean that's a very scientific, technical kind of an answer, and obviously these have to be tested. For example, if you want to look at the efficiency of or the quality of drinking water supplied by BWSSB, then you have to do tests. But otherwise, all the water, all that they, it's only the drinking water that they supply.
I understand. Okay, all the water that we get, that is 135 LP CD, whatever we are getting right now, is considered as drinking water. I understand. And when they mean not to use this drinking water for any of the purpose like gardening or using it for washing the vehicles and all those things, my concern here is how can we not do that? Like, it's our daily needs, and of course we have to plant trees, and we need more and more trees in our city. Like, Bangalore city is now Silicon City and not anymore Garden City. So here the other factor also comes into play when they ask us to not to use water for any of using it limitedly is fine, but then my question is, how can they ask us not to use this for gardening and other purposes is my question. How are you going to explain it to the citizens?
They can ask. They have been empowered through law to ask you. But first of all, I think, Madhu, you need to understand that there is something called a hierarchy of water use. Okay, and this hierarchy of water use is a global phenomenon. It's not specific to Bangalore. And we'll come back to notification, the particular notification that BWSSB, has provided to its citizens, residents of Bangalore a little later. But let's try and understand the hierarchy of water itself. So the hierarchy of water very clearly talks about, the needs, the potable needs, that is drinking water to be the first priority. And all the other things that you mentioned, including for cleaning of cars, or probably cleaning of the road in front of your house, this is not the priority. So if you look at the hierarchy itself, then drinking water to drink is the first priority, and industrial use of water would be the last priority. And in between the two, you have a lot of all these other activities which have been put. Having said that, so they do have the right to ask you not to use the water that they supply to wash your car. They're empowered to do that through law. But it is also the responsibility of every resident of Bangalore to ensure that whether there is a crisis or not, that they follow this hierarchy of water. First of all, it's a concern. It should be a concern for all of us that this is amongst probably a very rare occasion, probably the first time that the BWSSB has actually released a certain notification such as this, right? So, which only reflects the kind of crisis that we are in right now. Okay, so I'm really how they monitor this is secondary. The primary issue is of the concern that BWSSB actually had to have this notification going because we are in a crisis situation. Number two, it's a culturization. It's the culturization. We don't have to wait for a crisis to happen. We don't have to wait for crisis to hit us before we create a positive culture around water use. So the primary mistake that the BWSSB has done is that it has not democratized the governance of water in Bangalore. They have centralized it in their own hands, almost as if making it feel that the citizens don't have to worry. We are in control. We'll do everything, and we'll supply water to you. That is not how public water utilities work. I worked for more than a decade specifically on protecting public water sectors in India. We worked against the privatization of water, providing it to private companies to supply water in cities, right? And we've successfully done that in India. Now, having said that, there is also a mistake that public sector units do, especially a unit like BWSSB, which is amongst the largest in India, largest in Asia. Now, you should also know that BWSSB is amongst the most efficient public water utilities in Asia. So, but the mistake that they've done is they've centralized powers. They should have democratized water governance. And what I mean by it is that people in the city should know where the water is coming from. They should know how to use it. They should know their limits as much as they know their entitlements. Entitlement is that, okay, the WHO says that, every person would require 135 liters per person, per day, every day, for all uses, sanitation, drinking water, cooking, and all that. Now, so BWSSB's job is to ensure that people not only get that much of water, but they should also ensure that the whole culturalization is based on people being more responsible. And that they did not do. They never communicated with people on the use of water, the hierarchy of water, the responsibility, etc. So now, in the crisis situation, I hope we will be able to tide over this at the earliest. That there are rains and our reservoirs filling up, etc. But then this could have been avoided if, number one, we knew and we were prepared for this crisis. BWSSB did not know about it. Number two, if we had democratized the governance of water, where every person in the city of Bangalore is part of owns up to the water facility and ensure that they're all responsible.
That's so true. Everybody has to own up, but also when we went to do a reality check in Whitefield, that was the place where in the initially water crisis was more in Bangalore. That's where it started, and we went for a reality check in Whitefield, and there are these whole lot of PGs that has come up in Whitefield after all the IT companies has raised, and also there has been a whole lot of illegal connections that has there for all these PGs. If you have to give any suggestions to BWSSB or for the citizens about regarding this water crisis happening in Bengaluru, what would that be?
Okay, see, the illegal connections are illegal connections. There is no doubt that they need to be penalized. And the BWSSB Act very clear, and there have also been notifications even in the recent years on these punitive measures. That these punitive measures will be treated as a criminal act if there are illegal connections. So they need to follow up on these to ensure. See, it's always difficult because the infrastructure is huge. People can cheat and can have they can have illegal connections under the ground while also having a legal connection on the ground. So it's very difficult, but we need to ensure that there is a mechanism to monitor this, because illegal connection is an illegal connection any which way, and I do not condone it at all. But then, see, getting into this illegal connection is also kind of a culture. It's a kind of a culture. And this is where, you can actually see around the world, wherever the governance of water is much more participatory in nature, these illegal connections are lesser. Yeah, so that's something that we need to understand. It's such a centralized body. We like people, our leaders to be powerful, the heroes, and our institutions also to be. No, institutions have to be participatory in nature. That is how you create democratic institutions, and we still live in a democracy, and that is how it should be, right? Now, what is the suggestion? Suggestion is, look, like I said, this crisis can be apocalyptic. Historically, major cities in the world had to be depopulated because of water crisis. That has happened all through history. So let us not imagine that any city in Bangalore can go without any water plants. You need to plan your requirements, right? And we have not done that comprehensively. Look at any master plan of any major city in India, they do not have a section that deals with water. And especially, even if they have a section, if that section in the master plan looks at self-sufficiency, rather than having plans to get water from a distant river. Yeah. So we are dependent on Kaveri water, right? And that is not self-sufficiency at all. So you don't have Bangalore master plans which talk about self-sufficiency of water. And there are, Madhu, let me kind of highlight this. It was 13 years ago, in 2011, that the High Court of Karnataka told the government of the state that they should, within a specified by the December of 2011, that they should have a plan on using the rainwater that falls, because we get abundant rains usually. I mean, if it's not climate change, then we get about 1,000 mm per year, which is, and 1,000 mm falling on a city as large as Bangalore would be a lot of water, right? Now, so the High Court told the state government on creating a plan for the city to be self-reliant. And they were very specific. They spoke about lakes. They said, look, how do you catch the water, the rainwater that falls on the city of Bangalore, and give us a plan? And that plan is still not there, right? And so, I mean, for a person like me, and many other people like me who've been working on water for so long and trying to govern, democratize governance of water in India, it's almost as if it's a we told you so situation. It's unfortunate, but we told this. We said, look, this is coming, and climate change is coming, and just 2 years of drought. I don't want to scare the listeners or the viewers, but 2 years of drought in the Kaveri basin, and Bangalore will have to depopulate. Okay, so the suggestion is, look, let us cooperate. It's very difficult to bring in water discipline. Yeah, because people are, have their own priorities in life. It's very difficult, and that discipline comes in when there is more awareness, when there are more discussions, and hopefully, this crisis will be converted into an opportunity where, on one side, the government will also have to start thinking about self-sufficiency, where Kaveri water is plan B. It is not plan A. Plan A is rainwater in Bangalore. Yeah, self-sufficiency and make it participatory, the governance participatory, and people on the other side becoming much more responsible. And if these two things happen, that's when I think this crisis can become an opportunity for a city like Bangalore. It's a beautiful city. Let's all be responsible.
Yes, definitely. I am going to take that back home, because it's just, acting up in the time of emergency is not what we want. But we have to look at down the lane, 5 to 6 years down the lane, what is going to be the situation of Bengaluru is what matters. And we have to start acting for that immediately.
It's going to get worse. The situation is going to get worse because of climate change. And this also is not unique to Bangalore alone. Climate change is impacting every corner of the world. Yeah. You go to any place in the world today, it's impacted by.
We are already seeing that, and we are already feeling that heat in Bengaluru right now.
Yeah. So these are things, and climate change is science on one side. There is climate change. There is science around it. We need to understand that there is science. It's not religion. It's science. It's not faith. It is science. Okay. So the government and the people will have to cultivate a scientific temper to understand climate change. If we are misdirected either by the government, or we are misdirected ourselves towards things that don't matter, we will have to suffer. So in this context of a rapidly, aggravated climate change in the world, Bangalore can actually become a model, either a positive model or it can become a failed city. It can become a model if we get into what is called adaptive governance, where there is science and there are mitigative strategies. Yeah, and people have to be part of it, and the government will have to be part of it. Otherwise, the situation is going to go bad.